kids, Mrs. Muffin here, and I'm ready to make some art with you. Before we start our lesson, I want to make sure that you are physically and mentally ready to make some art. So in order to make sure that we're mentally ready, let's start by taking some deep breaths. Take it through your nose and then out your mouth. You can take as many breaths as you need, or maybe you need to do some other things like wiggling around, stretching. If you've been doing math all day, maybe you need a break, walk around the house, stretch, maybe get a snack, go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do to make sure that you're mentally ready. It's time to make sure that we're ready physically. Make sure that your space is clear and ready to make some art. If you want to listen to some music while you're making your art, now's the time to get that set up. It's a little bit different than at school. At school, I get to choose the music, I get to create the space, but here you get to have control over those things. It's kind of fun. So go ahead and get some music queued up in your headphones and get ready to make some art. Today, as far as supplies go, you're going to need some paper. As far as the type of paper you use, it's going to depend on what you have at home. Normally we'd be at school and I could hand you paper and you'd know, oh, we're using that paper. I'm using a thicker paper. It's a cardstock paper, but you might not have this at home. You might have computer paper, which is thinner. That's totally okay. You might have a notebook or some other kind of paper that you can use. As long as you have permission to use it, it's okay with me. Just use what you have. Problem solve. The next thing you're going to need is a pencil. You can use a mechanical pencil like this that has an eraser on top, or you can use a regular pencil, and in which case you'll definitely need an eraser. Optionally, you can have a Sharpie to use. You do not have to have one of these. I just sometimes like to outline part of my art, and I'll mention that later in the lesson. Last, you need something to make your art colorful. This is going to be different for everybody because again, we're at home learning and not all of us have the same supplies. You can use crayons, color pencils, watercolor paint, or anything else you have at home that you're allowed to use for art. Again, everyone's going to have different supplies and we just have to problem solve and figure out what we have available to us. Now, today our goal in art is to learn a little bit more about breathing and how that can help us feel a little more calm and how it can help us manage anxieties and worries that we're having right now in life. And then we're going to make an art project inspired by that lesson about breathing. In order to learn more about breathing, we're going to be reading this book. If you're on Canvas with me right now, I'm going to read the book to you now. If you're watching this on YouTube, I definitely recommend this book. You can buy it. You can find it perhaps on YouTube from someone else or on an online library. There's all sorts of ways you can find this book, but I definitely recommend it. My Magic Breath. While I'm reading the book, I'm going to recommend that when it asks you to take a deep breath, do what it says. Take a deep breath. Do the stretches, do the movement, whatever the book's asking you. And by the end of this, you're sure to feel really nice and calm. As I'm reading the book, also look for inspiration for your art project. What kind of colors do you think you'll use? What will your portrait look like? My Magic Breath, Finding Calm Through Mindful Breathing. Written by Nick Ortner and Alison Taylor. Pictures by Michelle Polizzi. I hope you enjoyed the book, My Magic Breath. Now I know you're sixth graders and you might be feeling a little bit like this book is for younger kids, but it's not. Mindfulness, breathing, meditation, the skills that this book helps you practice are really actually grown-up skills. I like to teach my students about them because they can be utilized at all ages, but they can be a tricky skill. If you have a lot on your mind and you're feeling grumpy, it can be really hard to learn how to clear your mind, how to feel calm, and how to feel better. That's a skill that a lot of adults do not have. And it's a skill that can help you throughout your entire lifetime, especially sixth grade, middle school, high school. If you're feeling stressed out about a test, about an assignment, and you're feeling alone at home trying to figure things out on your own, breathing and learning to clear your mind and feel positive and move forward is a skill that can help you with all of those things. That's why I wanted to read this book to my sixth graders, and that's why I wanted to do this art project. When you create your art project, I want you to think of the images in this book. The beautiful swirling images of the magic breath and all of the different colors. What kind of colors will you use on your project? What kind of portrait will you do? If you haven't already, make sure you have your supplies ready now, and it's time to start art. You can watch this video with me. I do make some comments and give instructions throughout. You can also put on your own music and fast forward and pause. That's one nice thing In class, when your teacher's teaching, you can't really push pause. But with these videos, you can push pause if you need a little bit more time. And you can watch this video this week, and then next week, pull out the art project and finish if you haven't. If you do finish this art project this week, then you could make another one. Fill up pages with all sorts of beautiful swirls and different designs inspired by this lesson. Okay, kids, we're now going to draw our self-portraits with magic breath. Remember to get inspiration from the book, My Magic Breath. I just love this page right here. We've got a simple drawing in the corner and then a big space filled with beautiful colors, shapes, swirls, patterns, expressing the magic breath. First, I almost started going right away without doing this. What do we write on the back? Our name, our teacher. You're gonna write your name and your teacher. Don't write Laura or teacher, that's my name. You need to write your teacher's name. And then the date that you work on this. I'm gonna start with making an area that's me. I'm gonna keep it simple though, just like in the book. I've got my basic shape for my head, and then I'm gonna add some facial details. In the book drawing, the girl has her hair here and her eyes closed. You can have your face at a different angle, but I'm gonna go with the inspiration from the book. If you're having a hard time with features like the eyes, you can flip over your paper and practice different eyes. I put my eyes like this because I'm wearing makeup that gives me eyeliner like that. You could just do a simple shape like a closed eye with or without eyelashes. Either works. You could have open eyes if you want to. You could have half open eyes where there's an eyelid and an eye. On the back, practice those different features. You could also practice different nose shapes, different mouth shapes. This is where the breath is coming from, but maybe you want to have yours kind of like that, and the breath comes out of this open mouth here, and there's the lips. Practice your different shapes. So back to here, I've got my simple circle shape. I'm giving myself the eyes. I'm gonna just go with a nose like that. And this simple, just like in the book, it's like a big dot because it's like I'm pushing my lips together and the air is coming out. And then my hair, I'm gonna do my big bows that I like to wear in my hair. Everyone's hair is gonna look different though. And then I'm gonna do a neck. The book didn't have that, but that's what I'm gonna do. And the shoulders are just two simple lines going down like that. Add my braids. And then I'll color that in later. My magic breath, remember, can be just colorful swirls, or I can add in some shapes. I think I'm gonna wait and use paint for my magic breath, but remember, you can use crayons, color pencils, watercolor paint, whatever supplies you have at home to make your picture colorful. And you don't have to, but I'm going to outline my image with Sharpie so it's a little easier to see on the video. Totally optional. Now I'm going to take my eraser and erase the extra lines. Now keep in mind, I've been drawing pictures of myself before. I've practiced, I've done more than one of these. So you don't have to be amazing at this right away. I've been drawing for a lot longer. Sometimes we go on the internet, we see artists we like, we see people on YouTube videos, and we think, wow, I can't draw like that. Well, consider that they've been drawing for years longer than you. And to get to the point of making a YouTube video where they're showing someone else how to draw, they've really had to practice whatever they're drawing. So it wasn't the first time they picked up a pencil and drew something like that. I'm going to use color pencils to color this part in, and then a combination of color pencils and paint for my breath. use paint to color in my skin color. Everybody's skin tone is going to be different, so I recommend on a separate piece of paper practicing to see if you can make what you think your skin tone looks like. Typically you're going to use brown, some pink. My skin is quite pale. I don't tan very easily, and so mine has a lot of pink. It's very pale, lots of water, but I also added some brown, some blue, yellow. Those are all colors we have to kind of combine to get the right mix. And usually our ears are a little more pink, our nose, sometimes our cheeks. Ooh, that might be a little too much. Clean my brush, and I can go back with my brush and soak up some of that color like a sponge, or spread it around at least. The way I made my paint do that is the paper was already wet, and then when I put paint on it, it spreads out like that. Okay, I'm ready to do some magic breath. I like all of my art to have lots of colors, so it makes sense that I would have this be very colorful. But I am sticking with these cool colors, blues and purples, because to me, my breath is calm and cool and relaxing. You can have warm colors like in the book. If you remember, there's a lot of warm colors, yellows, orange, red, but then they mix in some purples and greens. So really, your magic breath can look all different ways. I've decided I'm going to paint this whole thing with blank water first, and then you're going to see it's going to spread that paint out, and it's going to look really cool, hopefully. Art is all one big experiment like science, so if it doesn't look really cool, is it a big deal? Not really. It's not the end of the world. I'll try again. Now I can go back, and you can see the paint spreads a little bit more, a little bit differently, because the paper's already wet. You could even try flicking on there. Make sure you're not wearing nice clothes for this. And you can see, because the paper's already wet, that that is spreading really nicely. The way I'm doing the splatter technique is I put water in my paint, I swirl it around with my brush, and then my brush is really loaded with watercolor paint, and then I put it close to the paper and tap. A lot of students like to do this. What happens is I'm just going to get paint all over my desk, my clothes, my face, not much on my paper. If you hold your brush close to your paper and tap it, or even pull your brush like that, you're going to get a much better effect with a lot less mess. Even still, I do not recommend, if you're going to splatter, wearing your nice clothes. But I am digging this splatter look. I think I'm done. At a certain point, you want to stop. If you keep going, you might end up ruining it. It's one of those art rules. Sometimes less is more. If we keep going, we could go too far, too many splatters, too many swirls, and lose the beauty of our painting. Right now, I've got some nice blank background which usually I don't like students to leave the background blank, but in this case we want the background a little bit blank so it really emphasizes this beautiful magic breath. If we fill up the whole paper with swirls, we lose that it's this wonderful shape coming from us, this magical breath. So pick your breath shape, and then it's okay this one time in art to leave our background a little bit blank. And at this point, you're all done. Make sure that you share it with me. If you don't want me to put it in the student gallery, that's fine, just let me know. But at least share it with me. I want to see all the beautiful artwork that my students are creating. I hope you enjoyed this art lesson, and I hope that you're feeling a lot more calm and collected after creating this art project. Please make sure to share your art with me or your gen ed teacher so that we can share it with the school if you'd like me to. I won't share it if you ask me not to, but I'd still love to see that art. Until next time, have a great day.